This NASCAR Las Vegas 2024 weekend betting recap edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Kutt. Kutt is a peer-to-peer social betting platform that's U.S.-based and available in 40 states. Head to Kutt.com, that's Kutt.com, and use promo code SGPN for a 10% deposit bonus. We're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Play their fantasy pick'em for a chance to win 100x in NBA, NHL, college basketball, NASCAR, and more. Sign up today using promo code RACESGPN to get a 100% deposit match. We're also brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting research platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com. Use code SGPN to get 50% off of your first month and start making smarter bets today.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'll wreck my mom to win a championship. I'll wreck your mom to win a championship.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
It refrains me from not beating the out of you right now because you ask me stupid questions. But since I'm on probation, I suppose that's improper to say as well. If you could talk about racing things, we could talk about racing things.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
I have been excited to talk racing things all weekend long. It is, of course, the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. The man in the garbage bag is Cody Zeeb. I am Rod Villagomez. Cody, we're going to need to get you behind somebody to get that off, or you're just going to have to pit, buddy. I'm telling you right now.
Hi, this is the trash bag that cost us William Byron's victory this weekend. God damn it.
I can't even.
A cardboard got us a couple years ago. Now it's a trash bag. Oh, jeez. But that's all right, because if you listen to every episode of the show, which you should do, Rod, 80-1 on Raja Caruth on Friday night. Yes, let's go. The Cup Series was not kind to us. I will say that. But the Truck Series was absolutely gracious. Paid for the whole weekend. Raja Caruth, 80-1. We'll obviously get into that in a few minutes, but first it's cardboard, then it's trash bags. We just can't catch a break.
We cannot catch a break. Ty Tiger already in the chat saying, I can't believe a prime endorser won. I'm telling you right now, man. I'm surprised that the Pennzoil Ford did not win this one. So that was what Joey was preaching all weekend long.
He got the pole, so they had to at least get something. The pole without the special glove, didn't even really need the special glove to sit on the pole. So that was nice for him. So King of Chat 54, baby. Ty Gibbs, if he didn't have that penalty, Rod, my goodness, He's going to be good this season.
We told you in the Underdog. We told you in the Underdog that was somebody to win.
Yeah, we did talk about him in the Underdog episode, and he's going to be a guy that we continue to talk about. So here we are. Kyle Larson, wins at Las Vegas. there were so many points. I don't know. It was a great race. First of all, I think I saw a couple people commenting on that. They didn't really like it. I thought it was a good race. It was exciting. There was kind of battles throughout the thing. A lot of mistakes. A lot of teams costing themselves multiple times. That's the reason Tyler Reddick didn't win this thing. But Larson the team didn't make mistakes. They kept him out front. And being out front, it kept it out front. Reddick made it exciting at the end. Got close to getting there at the end, and just didn't quite get there. So, man, I don't know. I just don't regret not betting on someone that's so favored like Kyle Larson. There was too many things, and you saw it with William Byron, you saw it with Tyler Reddick, saw it with Kyle Busch. I mean, there's so many things that can just go wrong when you have that low of odds. I don't know. It's frustrating though to be so close. We had Xfinity and Cup Series. We had the fastest car in both races. Didn't cash the outrights on those. A little unfortunate as well.
Well, and listen, to be honest with you, I don't even know that Larson had any sort of issue all day long. And we talk about it so many different times. Yeah, we talk about it so many times, though. This is a full team sport. I mean, yes, it's up to the driver behind the wheel. But like you said, we saw mistakes on pit road, and that is a team thing. That wasn't Tyler Reddick's fault. That wasn't Ty Gibbs's fault. Those things that happened were outside of their control. And so, and we keep that in mind too when we bet. I mean, it's like, listen, we'll give you what we think is going to happen, but honestly, I can't tell you that Kyle Busch is going to have trouble on the right side tires, and that's going to take another couple. I can't tell you that Bubba Wallace is going to get a lug nut stuck on his tire and cost him the entire race. Like, I can't predict those things, but when the analysis is on,
you know what else you can't predict, Rod? A trash bag.
Yeah, exactly.
A fucking trash.
Wait, hold on. Brian Twining is in the chat. You were the one with the trash bag, Brian. I know because you were there in Vegas. He says, "What's up, fellas? The race was great. Had the best overall car being chased by the better long run car. A lot of movers, followers, and surprises." But yeah, you threw that trash bag out there, didn't you, Brian? Don't lie.
Yeah, man, it's so frustrating. But great summary by Brian. I think it really was a great overall race and exciting. Ty Tiger checking in if Gibbs didn't break his transmission. We didn't even mention that. Erica checking in. How about the 54? I swear, Erica, she always tunes in right after we get done talking about him. But we just got done talking about how great it was that he had a top 5 run and a great day. Nick Fortune with the Bubba lost a nut. Yeah, when they said on the broadcast that they were gonna have to cut that nut off, I was like, oh boy, that's maybe let's be careful there. So
no,
Daryl was up here. I just got a picture from Daryl today. Got his hoodie for finishing second in the Daytona 500 contest. So what's the crap about Honda wanting to get into NASCAR? I don't know if we really I don't think we had time to touch on that last week.
We didn't. No.
I love it. I think the more the better as far as they go. I mean, you look at a team like Stewart Haas. There's, the rumors about leaving Ford, although they showed up pretty good today too. But and then they would be a good fit. And I think the more there is, the more competitive it gets. And then Daryl as well saying Reddick was a boss today. So freaking close. Again, his pit crew have cost him so many wins the last couple of seasons. I love
at the very end of his thing. He was like, "Yep, that's the shit that happens." Like,
yeah, he did not give a fuck. I mean, and you could, but he had every right to be, because if they hadn't kept getting him out behind Larson, if they could have got him out right there with Larson or right ahead of Larson, but instead he has to keep fighting past all these people, and then he just is not. Once he catches Larson, he couldn't get around him. Maybe if there's 5 more laps, he gets him. He had the better long run car, but it's really frustrating when he's doing everything he can behind the wheel. The Toyota car looked good. He showed up fast, just like we thought he would, and same shit, different year. That's exactly what he said, and it's so true. And then 2311 gets the nut stuck on Bubba's car. Like, I don't know. It's just so frustrating.
It is so frustrating. I want Dodge back. Bring Dodge back. I don't care at this point. Nick Fortune saying, please sound clip that Bubba and his nut. I'm telling you, like I said,
we got a lot of sound clips we need to do.
I told Ty Tiger in the Discord, I said, listen, but I'm going to clip all these things out, and our intro is going to be about an hour long. So
we're going to have a full show of just sound clips from this season.
Which we could. And then he's got a question for our Bakersfield, California diehard NASCAR fans. The broadcast seemed like they were. Nick, it's Bakersfield. There is nothing else to do in Bakersfield. So yes, that's 1000% it. So I love you, Bakersfield. I really do. But you guys you all know that your best thing to do is go out away from Bakersfield and do something. So I'm not even going to apologize for that, because all of us that live in California, you ain't fooling us. So, all right, let's talk more about this race and break down our bets as we do so. But I do want to tell you first about Kutt. Remember Kutt? It's the peer-to-peer social betting platform that's U.S.-based and available in 40 states. It's peer-to-peer social betting, and it's a new and better way to bet. You can bet directly against your friends or other users, not just on sports, guys, but politics, pop cultures, and any other event that's got a verifiable outcome. Whether or not a trash bag is going to ruin a day, I'm sure that's a pretty good Kutt bet that you can make, because you can verify that. We saw that today. Plus, there's tons of fun social features that give it the feel of a betting social network. Kutt also offers the lowest vig, and guess it's fully customizable, which means you can create your own bets. Kutt handles all the payment side of things too, so you never got to chase anybody down for money ever again. Tons of social features, group chats, betting leaderboards, head-to-head history, user profiles, fan groups, and more. Plus rewards, get cash back every single time you bet against your friends or other users. I'm telling you right now, this week we are going to create our favorite Kutt bet. That way you guys can get over and take advantage of it with us. So give us a few. We'll come back with that probably on maybe we'll do that on our Friday episode and have some fun with that. So in the meantime, download Kutt today in the App Store or over to kutt.com. That's KUTT, and use promo code SGPN for a 10% deposit bonus. We did our Underdog show on Friday. Hey, we didn't do half bad. Denny Hamlin decided he wanted to surprise me and actually finish better than 7.5 this time. But overall, we did pretty good. I think we hit 5 out of 6, or at least 4 out of 6. I have to double check and make sure what exactly the official plays were. But hey, we're getting pretty good at these Underdog pick'ems, so you need to come and tail us. Unfortunately, Byron kind of sunk mine, as well as Bubba as well, my other one that I had that I put out today. So that was pretty much garbage, but you probably did better. And thank God you did. And thank God you signed up with our promo code RACESGPN, because you got your deposit bonus matched up to $100. Plus you can win up to 100 times your money on some of these spicy plays on some of these other sports that are going on. Sign up today. Use that promo code RACESGPN. You're going to get your first deposit doubled up to $100, as well as an instant pick'em special. Visit UnderdogFantasy.com or find them in the App Store. And don't forget to register with our promo code RACESGPN to get your first deposit doubled up to $100, as well as an instant pick'em special. Must be 18 or older and present in a state where Underdog operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-522-4700 or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
I think one of the reasons I'm even more mad at this trash bag, Rod, I put out an Underdog this morning. That was a cross sport, because you can do that. A lot of fun over on Underdog. And I had Caitlin Clark to get higher than 17.5, hit the record.
Did she break it?
She did. She broke the record, hit that. She actually had 35, so she doubled up that. That was like kind of one of those free squares from, which Underdog does that a lot, where they'll give you one where it's like, this NBA player to score half a point, and they like score 20 a night, and it's like, okay, so I had that. I had Chastain to finish better than 10.5. That was a little scary at points, but he did it. I had Truex better than 9.5. He did it. I had Joe Alt in the 40 to run faster than a 5.07. He ran a 5.05. And William Byron to lead 36 and a half laps.
Oh.
He led 15, and then he got a trash bag and never saw the lead again. So what a sad day. But anyways,
I had lug nuts and trash bags that took me out of my Underdog pick. So
shit. Lug nuts and trash bags. Great morning radio show.
Actually, I was thinking that's
trash bags is a little, smelly at times, but
wow, I was thinking that's a good first album name right there.
There you go.
Rod and Cody, lug nuts and trash bags, available on Spotify.
All right, boom, we figured it out.
Hey, I'm game. All right, let's go through these. Let's go through these bets before lug nuts and trash bags become our signature mark.
Yes. So I'll start off. I had John Hunter Nemechek over Carson Hocevar. And man, I'll tell you what, Carson Hocevar just extremely impressive. Really the Spire group as a whole impressive. Corey LaJoie, he ends up getting wrecked. I think that Keselowski just took the air off him and caused him to get in the wall there and stuff, but LaJoie was kind of mixing it up front, a little bit of pit strategy, but was holding his own there, top 15, top 10 area. And Hocevar comes home with a 15th place finish. Unfortunately, Zane Smith, was in the wall early and broke that toe link, so he went multiple laps down. So we didn't really get to see everything from him, but very impressive run by Carson Hocevar. He's going to be a guy we're going to have to really keep an eye on. He might be a sneaky top 10 play here and there. A guy that's going to be great for fantasy if they keep him at a low price. I guess I should have went with him instead of Zane Smith in the DFS episode, but that's okay. So yeah, he had a great day, ends up in 15th. So he actually won this matchup. John Hunter, not too impressive, 22nd. He's the 42 car, not 42nd. But yeah, he ends up in 22nd. Kind of didn't really hear from Hocevar throughout the day, or from John Hunter throughout the day, which was a little bit disappointing. I really kind of expected more, especially coming off a win in the Xfinity Series race, the day before. Had a great run, but just didn't really have it on Sunday. So a little disappointed there, and unfortunately that one did not cash.
Yeah, and honestly, the legacy cars, neither one of them had spectacular days. Eric Jones, shout out to him. I did give him out in the DFS. He ends up finishing 14th. When he starts somewhere in the 20s, I think he started 21st or 22nd, 25th actually. 25th is where. 22nd is where he started. Yeah. So not a bad day, DFS day, but at least a decent DFS day overall. All right, my first bet, I took Hendrick over Gibbs as far as teams were concerned. I told you this was a little bit juice, but you only pay the juice if you lose. And guess what? Well, Hendrick won the race. So very hard to bet against that. And listen, I said that it was going to be a very close race, but I did definitely think that a Hendrick car is going to win this race. So you can't really bet against that. And then Ty Gibbs was the first finishing Gibbs car overall, which was crazy because Hamlin was up there in the mix. Truex was up there in the mix. Bell, well, obviously, poor guy, got taken out way early.
Yeah, rough day for him. He was multiple caution flags.
Yeah, that guy, man, right from the get-go, his day was ruined. So, unfortunately, he wasn't even in the mix. But the other three were, and Gibbs was the one that came out on top. So, driving Grandpa's car to the top of the charts for them in 5th place. So, good on them. But it was still a Hendrick-dominated day. And Hendrick came out on top over Gibbs. So, that was never a question. I never doubted that for a second. Even if Reddick would have won, this still would have hit because obviously a Toyota would have won, but it would have been a 2311 Toyota, not a Gibbs Toyota. So we would have been safe there even if Larson would have come in second.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think that. So curious your take on manufacturers, right? We had a lot of questions coming into this race. I think Chevy picked up right where they left off, obviously. I would say Larson and Byron had the fastest cars, probably. Obviously, Byron had the issue with the trash bag. Toyota, I think, looked a lot like they did last year as far as, Reddick was fast last year. He was fast again. Hamlin kind of had his spurts. Gibbs impressive. Ford, though, maybe they're still kind of lagging behind the other two, I think, a little bit, Rod. You got, Noah Gragson with a great run at his home track, finishing in 6th. And Blaney was fast at points, too, and ends up in 3rd place. But Joey Logano said on the pole, he led the first lap. I don't know if he led anything after that. He dropped back quickly. You never really heard from him again. The RFK cars weren't that impressive. Go dropped like an anchor from the word go. I don't know. Just I think that manufacturer-wise, that's kind of where we're at on these intermediates. It's still going to be Chevy heavy with Toyota kind of right behind them. And I think Ford's going to lag a little bit back again this year just based on, again, small sample size. It's one race here at Las Vegas, but based on what we've seen thus far.
Maybe they need to make the dark horse a little less dark. I think they didn't lighten it up enough. I don't think they're that's a Mustang behind that. I think really there are Pintos kind of hiding in the.
Maybe they didn't make it dark enough, and you can see the Pintos hanging out there. I don't know.
I don't know, but there are a lot of questions. Obviously, Blaney, no surprise that he was fast because he was fast all last season and obviously won the whole damn thing, right? Noah Gragson, you're right. That was a surprising run by Noah Gragson, but strategy played a lot in that as well. And him just kind of driving his ass off there at the end definitely came into play as well. So, look, it's going to be interesting to keep an eye out on these Fords because, man, something's got to give for them. This is 3 races in a row that it's kind of been a little less than stellar for those Fords.
Lucky for them, we're headed to Phoenix where they've been pretty good lately. So they'll probably be able to change some things there, but
they're missing a guy.
Next up for me, I had Bubba Wallace, Brad Keselowski. I tossed both those guys out. I like their top 5 odds. When we recorded on Tuesday, there was no top 5 odds available. But over on Caesars, they did have the finishing position props, which I kind of really liked. And I think I might get in on those a little bit more. Both guys were set at 14.5. I think that Bubba was well on his way to finishing within the top 14.5. Obviously, the lug nut gets stuck. You just can't handicap that, right? That's a racing incident that there's nothing really you can do about that. Keselowski, though, however, also at 14.5, he finishes in 13th place. So just squeaked it out for us there, but he did cash on that one. So one of the few brighter sides, at least. Kind of expected a little more out of Keselowski. Didn't really, one of those guys you just didn't hear from. He was just kind of real quiet throughout the day. His teammate obviously has issues early, a hard hit. They had to red flag the race to fix the wall. So luckily Buscher, I think, seems to be okay. But just not a fully there day for Keselowski, but he did cash the under 14.5 bet for us.
And what's crazy about Bubba too is it wasn't just the lug nut. Something was up with him even before that. Like he dropped like a rock at the end of that first stage too. And it was, I mean, a lot of people had the Bubba over Chastain at the end of stage 1.
Yeah.
And that didn't hit because Bubba didn't held up his end of the bargain.
Man, just things that should have happened today that didn't. Just
I know. That was rough. The frustrating thing. Brian checking in saying Logano not winning was a sure thing. Don't understand how Joey got steamed to plus 550.
Dude, people overreact to practice and qualifying so much. I saw somebody was commenting somewhere and it was like, you gotta practice and qualifying is everything. And it's like in practice, like you're lucky if they run 22 straight laps. You got 4 different groups, so it's completely different track conditions for all of them. Like,
and there was definitely around them too, for that matter.
Right,
it's not,
And there was things you can take for sure. I mean, we knew right away. Well, Larson and Byron are probably going to be pretty fast this weekend, right? And Gregson, I mean, his kind of translated, but you got to be careful just leaning too much into those because Logano has one good lap in qualifying. There's 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts. Who knows what went into him having that great perfect lap, but that doesn't mean he's going to win the race. So just a word of caution to pay attention, but know what's all the scenarios, know what's going on and why, this guy was the second fastest guy, but that's because he had one lap that was the second fastest lap out of everyone. But look at his 10 lap or his 20 lap average, and just got to pump the brakes on overreacting to a guy like Logano sits on the pole and it's like, oh God, watch out. Not so much.
Yeah. And that's why you listen to this. That's why you stay in the Discord, because we help you suss through what to pay attention to and what to actually sort of discard as, okay, well, that is great. That's a great stat. That's a great number, but what does it really mean in the grand scheme of things? So we always try to help you out as much as possible all over the place. So don't just take one set of data and run with it. So speaking of sets of data, let's talk about Hall of Fame bets. Win bigger by betting smarter this NBA season with Hall of Fame bets, the sports betting research analytics platform for player props and game lines and parlays. Research every NBA and soccer bet with historical stats and data. Enter any parlay idea into Hall of Fame bets revolutionary parlay optimizer tool to get hit rates broken down by leg, as well as an expected probability for the entire parlay. Sort all players by hit rate for any bet to learn which players are hot and which picks have value. Stop betting in the dark. Join over 30,000 users researching with Hall of Fame bets to craft more intelligent, data-driven parlays. Download the Hall of Fame bets app or visit hofbets.com. Use code SGPN to get 50% off of your first month today. Start researching, start winning with Hall of Fame bets. Well, my next bet did not fare nearly as well as I wanted it to. I had Kyle Busch over Ryan Blaney. This was at plus 115. I didn't mention it on the broadcast, but I did put it in parentheses and just kind of overlooked it. It was even as low as minus 105 over on Bet 365. So this was definitely one that was a good value for us when we grabbed it. And it was a good value for us for a better part of the race. But unfortunately, Kyle Busch's pit crew decided that he didn't like that, or they didn't like this side of it, and they decided to just tank him several times over. I don't know. Maybe.
Well, technically, that was kind of Kyle's fault at the end. He slid through the box and technically pitted outside the box.
That was, yeah. But I mean, listen, he didn't help. They didn't help him out either at all.
He lost. Didn't he lose like 17? Was that him or was it Reddick? One of them lost like 17 spots on one pit stop. It was ridiculous.
It was Kyle. But here's the thing: they could have not serviced the car. I mean, they could have pushed him back. That was something that
So somebody's got to be paying attention. I mean, obviously, Kyle can't see if he's over the line. Somebody's got to be paying attention to that.
No, listen, I need the little tennis ball in my garage to know if I'm going to hit the front of the house or inside of the house. I can only imagine what those pictures need.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but yeah. So, anyways, Blaney ends up finishing third in this one. What a hell of a run by Ryan Blaney. That, for the most part, I mean, look, what did he start at? Ryan Blaney.
That champion's curse not really affecting Ryan Blaney's through a couple of races. Although he did have a couple of bad hits at Daytona, but last week, I mean, he was part of that photo finish. Ends up getting the third place finish here this week. Couple good runs.
Started 15th, ended up third, and really just methodically worked his way up to the front. He wasn't fighting for a top 5 for most of the race, and then just behold, there he is in third place. So really good run by Blaney. I may have to take the blinders off and really look at what he's about to do in the next few weeks, because listen, now again, we can start taking what we see here on the track in finishes and factor it into what we're coming up to over the next few weeks. And Ryan Blaney's impressing the hell out of me, even back through the last couple races.
Yeah, and then you head to Phoenix next week, where it's been his playground as of late. So he's definitely going to be a guy we're going to be keeping an eye on here going forward. So yeah, exactly. Do you have the lead change numbers and the drivers that led a lap one? Definitely didn't count. I did not expect for there to be so much 10 laps into the race we had a wreck, and everyone pits for tires, but some people stay out. I would be surprised if either of these hit. I did not expect
24 lead changes.
Okay, yeah. So.
In the one altogether. And then drivers that led a lap, you got to go all the way down to let's see, 1, 2.
So yeah, the number of lead changes was at 20.5. I took the under on that. Again, I was thinking overreaction to the super speedway racing last week, but then it ended up just being such a cat and mouse game of this guy's staying out and this guy's pitting and 2 tires and no tires, and I just did not see any of all of that stuff coming. Obviously, the new right side tire from Goodyear didn't appear to be great. Issues early for multiple drivers, and I think that scared some people, and we had a lot more tire changing than I thought we were going to get.
Yeah, and then your drivers to lead a lap was because it was 9.5, right? Yeah, there was 15 drivers that led a lap. So
Missed on both those. I again appreciate the books for giving those out. Continue to do that, please. Yeah,
keep doing it.
We like that kind of stuff. So missed on these. I did not see that race turning out that way. Not what we've seen the last 3 races we've been here, by any means. Like I had said, 3 of the first next gen race had been that way, but the last 3 hadn't. So I thought it would continue to be that way.
It should tell you everything you need to know when Derek Kraus leads laps.
By the way, Justin Haley beats Derek Kraus, which there was a little bit of a friendly X battle with our buddy Mark over at Skybox NASCAR and Full Tank with Phil. They were on the Kraus side of things, saying he was going to just absolutely obliterate the RWR car. And I was like, no, Haley all day, baby. It was 1 spot, but Haley did finish better than Kraus. So
that's a good cut bet.
It is a good cut. See, I'm so happy Kutt is, because I've got a few things on there that had for season long NASCAR stuff that I'm riding, which is great. And we're gonna have to get some individual race stuff with them, because that's gonna be fun. So you got to bet you want to place at Phoenix, hit me up. We'll get a Kutt to add it. They'll dude, they're so great. They'll add, if it has a verifiable outcome, they'll add anything you want. So hit us up, because I would love to take your action over on Kutt.
We are going to make sure that happens this week. All right, I had Tyler Reddick under 10.5, which means he was going to finish better than 10.5, minus 130.
Easy.
That was, again, I know that I had these juiced up lines, but minus 130 is not really that bad of a vig. If you really, you can make money off of a minus 130. People do it all the time, especially when
bet on basketball. That's what you're. I mean, NFL, basketball, the other stuff. That's the type of stuff you're getting. This was a great call. This number was way too big.
Way too big.
Again,
you could have had this at 3 and at 3.5, it still would have hit.
This is that eye test difference. That's what we talked about with Tyler Reddick. Like, the numbers didn't say Tyler Reddick should be this good, but we've seen it. We knew he could do it, and he did, despite his pit crew trying to hold him back multiple times from doing it. So, great call by you to hit that one. I had Harrison Burton to finish over or worse than, basically, 21.5. This was an easy one as well. He comes in 30th place. I mean, really, Harrison Burton, the only people he beat: Chris Buescher with the tire problem, Zane Smith with the tire problem, Bubba Wallace with the tire problem, JJ Yaley, I think he's still trying to complete one lap in that car, Christopher Bell, who crashed, Corey LaJoie, who crashed, and Kaz Gralla, who sucks. So that is it. Harrison Burton beat no one else. Even Derek Cross and Justin Haley beat Harrison Burton. That's really all you need to know. I think that Wood Brothers are already trying to make calls to get him replaced next year because, my goodness.
Yeah, it definitely. It's so sad. Like I'm sure he's a talented driver. I know. Look, we love everybody, right? We want to have beers with you, but
he can go back to the Xfinity Series and be okay there.
Cole Custer,
he's not Cole Custer, Rod.
No,
don't give him that much credit.
That's true. My bad. Yeah, that was not a hard one at all. That was not a bad sweat, and -110 was even good for that price too. Again, another one that was minus money, but was a good bet. Drivers on the lead lap over 21.5. Yeah, this race definitely finished with more than 20. Look, there was actually 31 drivers on the lead lap at the end of this race. Unbelievable. And we thought for sure that maybe, Kyle would start lapping some folks. But you know what really saved the day? Those 7 cars that took the wave around at the end of that one caution. They put 7 more cars back on the lead lap, and it was like
I was rooting so hard for Zane Smith early in that race. He had that issue early. He goes like 7 laps down, and then like immediate caution, lucky dog, and then immediate caution. He got the lucky dog, or he got the wave around and the lucky dog. So he got 2 laps back, and I'm counting down his laps, and then it just didn't work out after that. I was hoping he'd get back there, but he didn't. But yeah, this one was an easy catch for you. So great call. I took the watermelon lift for the weekend. With Ross Chastain. This one had its ups and downs for sure, right? He doesn't really qualify that well. Then he has to start in the back because the wrap was coming off the car. They had to rewrap the hood or something, and so he goes to the back, but then he kind of races his way through the field pretty quickly. Then he gets a pit penalty. Then he takes 2 tires late with the gamble, a gamble that really paid off for him. I mean, he held off Larson for the lead for a while, held on to second place, ends up slipping back to 4th. I was really hoping Blaney wouldn't get around him, but so he doesn't cash the top 3 at 4-1, but he does cash the top 5 at +220. We had him under 10.5 at -110, which ended up being a better number than his top 10 odds were. So it's going to be something to keep an eye on. I had him top Chevy at +650. I mean, he ends up being the second Chevy, and really, so as good as we said Chevy was, because they had fast cars, it's Larson gets first place, Ross is 4th, and then William Byron doesn't come in until 24, or not 20. Why do I keep looking at the car number, Rod? He comes in 10th place. So sorry if you're watching on YouTube, my camera's flipping out again. I got to figure out what's going on with that. That's driving me nuts. Anyways, so Ross Chastain doesn't cash the top Chevy. 18-1, though, I feel like was still a really good bet on him to win. Somebody mentioned it. Was it Brian? Chastain has had chances to win each of the first 3 races. Again, super speed is the beginning. But if he pops at Phoenix again, which he has, he won the Phoenix fall race. Watch for him. Go look at his. I'm going to see if I can find his championship odds. I gave him out as a championship winner earlier on the season. I've got a ticket on him in the offseason before the season started. But now might be your last chance to get in on Chastain at a good championship number before he wins a race and finds his way into the playoffs.
Yeah, and honestly, too, with Ross Chastain, that last minute strategy, I was wondering how long that was going to hold off, because there's very, very for Kyle Larson. I mean, look, he was battling Ross pretty hard there at the end, and I know it was frustrating Kyle, but Ross was doing what he needed to do. I mean, that guy, he only had one play, and that was to out strategy everybody else, and so I thought he was going to fall farther back. I thought his 5th place was in trouble for a little while, because I thought freaking Gragson was going to give him. I thought Gragson was going to give him a run there at the end.
Well, and once you lose like 1st and 2nd, I thought he was just going to drop very quickly, and I was like, fuck. But he really held on with those 2 tires and just proved how talented he is, how good of a race car driver he is. So yeah, I would place all of these bets. Only catch a couple of them, but the top 5 helps to kind of cover the rest at +220. So I would definitely place these bets again.
Indeed. My bet was Wallace and Bowman, both in the top 5. I misspoke, guys. I'm sorry. I was saying Wallace and Bowman in the top 35. That was the actual bet that I was going to place.
Did you cash that even?
Yes, I did.
Oh, Bubba was 35th.
Bubba did finish 35th. So I was really telling you that they were going to be top 35 cars. No, it's just frustrating. I mean, for Wallace,
the Wallace thing though is not his fault. The Bowman thing.
Yeah, Bowman. I don't know what
Bowman was. Again, one of those cars like you never heard about him throughout the day. For as good as he's been here, I used him as my one and done pick. Motherfucker. I do this wrong every time, Rod, right? It's like Larson looks so good. I knew everybody was going to use Larson. So I'm like, not using Larson this week. I'm going to save him for a different week when I'm confident and everybody's already burned him. Should have fucking used him. I do this I always overthink it. So Truex was not bad. He had a good finish.
7th. So that was good.
I probably would have saved him somewhere else, but
I thought about it.
But I was like, this is Bowman's shot. Like this is the track he's been good on. Last track he won at
18th, kids. There was no part of Bowman that was going to win this race, or not even be in the top 5. So that was frustrating. And honestly, it was Byron and it was Larson, the two quickest Hendrick cars. Elliott, Bowman, they got to go back and do some more iRacing because I don't know what's going on there.
Starting to get a little bit concerned if you're in the Bowman camp, if you're in the Elliott camp too. I mean, just not very impressive, which is rough. DJ, I feel like I got kicked in the lug nuts by Wallace today. Yeah, so I think we all do. So speaking of Elliott, I had him 16-1 to win. Just not really a factor. I mean, he didn't really have a chance at all. So just kind of unfortunate there. I had Byron at 9-1. And Trioval Life, which they're a great follow on Facebook too. Go check out his page. But Bowman gonna have to do better than he did this week. Yeah, that's low bar because he didn't do much. But I had Byron to win at 9-1. I still think you put up Larson at 4-1. You put up Byron at 9-1. Byron was the better bet to make because you got much better, twice the odds, right? And he was just as fast. He was just as good. A fucking trash bag is the difference. Just like the damn cardboard a couple of years ago at the Roval. And that gets you, and it sucks. And, yeah, you look at the final board, and you're like, 10th place, that wasn't a great bet. But you got to look at the race. He was just as fast, if not faster, than Larson early. The moves he was making, if he'd have got out in that clean air and been able to stay up there all day, he leads as many laps as he does last year. He would have won this race. And then Tyler Reddick, 11-1. We were so close, Rod. He kept running him down and just couldn't quite get around him. And that's a testament to Larson. He's such a great racer. He knows how to play with the guy behind him. He knows how to manipulate the air. He's very good at that. I think he did a great job, and he didn't slip up. That's what you're hoping for, right? Is he overcorrects, he throws a block, and Reddick reeled him all the way in and had the chance, just wasn't quite able to do it. So, but Reddick 11-1 again. Reddick is my guy this year. I'm so big on him. I'm going to continue to hit these bets on him. It's going to happen if his fucking pit crew stays out of the way. He can really do some big damage. I'm trying to cash these tickets I got. I got a lot of money invested on Tyler Reddick this season. But 11-1 on him and 9-1 on Bowman, or on Byron, rather. I'm happy with both of those bets. They didn't cash, but they both had real life chance, and that's what you're asking for when it comes to this.
Indeed. I would say Reddick is coming up short, but that's kind of a short joke, and I don't want to do that.
You're short, so it's okay for you to make that joke.
Hey, I can make that joke because I am definitely.
It might not come off as good if I make it.
Me and him,
average size.
We've stood next to each other before, and I guarantee you that we are very, very similar in height. So
look, I think Trioval Life, we're on the same wavelength there, buddy. Because
there you go.
Yeah, I said he was going to win 5 races this season. I'm heavily invested on his over-win total and his championship wins. So. Or championship odds, so hopefully those will hit later.
All right. Well, it's weird, Cody. My outright page has disappeared. I don't know what's in that box.
Hit delete on accident. That's all right.
I don't. Yeah, it evaporated, just like the chances of Bell and Busch. Both of them were my outrights. Bell's went done early. I mean, that when you don't have to sweat it, that's probably the best, right? But for Busch, it was like, oh man, he hit trouble. Oh, he's back. Oh, he's in trouble. Oh, man, he's back. Oh, shit, he's in trouble.
Gives you that little bit of hope and snatches it away multiple times.
But
Bell
I feel like I was wrong on Busch, though, because I feel like Busch had something for it if he just would have been able to stay out of trouble. I think he would have been in the mix. I don't think he would have won, but whatever. It's the ghost of NASCAR.
Well, when you hit an 80-1 in the Truck Series on Friday night, sometimes you got to pay it back a little bit, Nick. And unfortunately, the trash bag was the ghost that haunted us.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they come back for blood. I love that. All right, so let's put the Cup Series in the rear view. Obviously, we'll break down Phoenix for the betting aspect when we come back on Tuesday when there's odds. But look, I mean, overall, just to put a bow on it, a bow tie on it, I feel like it was a fantastic race. I personally, I don't think it was as good as Atlanta, obviously.
Wow, you can't compare anything to that. Like,
no,
that was such a good race. You don't have that expectation every week, and there was a chance for this to be kind of a snoozer race, and for a Larson to just get out. And I know he still led a lot of laps, and he still owned the race, but not like he could have for sure. And it was exciting. There was different storylines going on. I mean, there was constant, changing and this and that and all the strategy. That's what makes it great. You got 2 tires, you got no tires, you got staying out, you got different guys mixing it up, guys getting stuck in the pack. And there was a billion penalties and pit mistakes and stuff, and it kept it very exciting. You get, Reddick almost runs him down at the end of the race. It was great. So trial of a life with, today was a phenomenal race. I completely agree. So the betting card didn't necessarily go the way we wanted it to. Luckily, Xfinity was a little better. Trucks was really, really good. So again, that's why you got to listen to all 3 series, because you balanced it out for the whole weekend, and it was a positive weekend. So we're excited to take on Phoenix next week for the Cup Series. But should we take a look at the Xfinity race, Rob?
I feel like we should. We can kind of breeze through this one because I'm a little pissed off about this race altogether. But that's just neither here nor there.
Another race of having the fastest car and not hitting the bets.
Damn it! I'm so I'm bitter. I'm salty about this one. But let's go through it anyways because we have to. We're contractually obligated to do it.
Rod, I don't know how handy that beep button is. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to ask for it yet. Not yet. Okay,
you tell me when.
But if Sheldon fucking Creed does this to me again, then we're going to implement the beep button over his name. Because what the fuck, was Sheldon Creed in that race? Nobody really knows. 26th place
in the race.
He's this close, Rod. This happens one more time, and he's done. He's getting on Daniel Beep's level, and we're not going to say his name anymore. What the? Just fucking horrible. And we'll get to it in the outright section, but I talked myself off of John Hunter Nemechek for Sheldon Creed, which is a big mistake. But I had Sheldon Creed over AJ Allmendinger, plus 120. Look, AJ did exactly what I said he was going to do. He was going to hang out 5th to 10th place. He was going to have a solid day. Well, he ends up in 6th place, just like I thought he would. But Sheldon Creed, I expected. What did they say 500 times in the broadcast Saturday night? They said, Gibbs is just dominating this race. Wow, these Joe Gibbs cars are so fast. Absolutely, all nothing but Gibbs today. And Sheldon Creed, nowhere to be fucking found. Just pathetic. A Gibbs car, plus 120 in a head-to-head. Should have easily.
But
the reason I'm doing it trial of a life is because the second guy you mentioned, who I don't talk about him anymore,
this guy
cost me way too much fucking money. Yes, that guy. It's cost me way too much money. And Sheldon Creed is approaching that level. It's not great.
Well, I tried. I love Creed. I love my California guy. I do. But
he's a great dude. Like,
I wasn't
that like a serial killer, but but you're never high on the Toyotas, Rod, and you're wrong.
This is true. Well, was I wrong this time?
Okay.
I was not. But I was wrong because I took AJ. We'd talk about the comparison. I did have AJ as a top 3 car. He did start.
It's not wrong. See, this is not a wrong bet because this was still the right bet to make for the money you got and the result you got.
Yeah, because I did take AJ as a top 3 car at plus 350. Really only because, top 5 odds, top 10 odds, they weren't really what they were supposed to be. I thought top 3 was a good finishing position for him. He started there. He hung around there for most of the day. He was threatening to be a top 3 car, but unfortunately he just didn't have it at the end to get around. Cole Custer really screwed me up big time. And then Herbst kind of should have been where he was. And I don't know. It pissed me off. AJ should have been a top 3 car. He wasn't, but he was still a top 6 car, which, is good. That means top plus 350 for a top 3 was kind of mispriced. And I think that's what we're looking at, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the number was great, and you expect AJ to hang around throughout the day. I mean, that car I don't think was that great. He did a lot more with it than he really probably should have. So that's what you're looking for, and that's why, I mean, a guy at 3.5 to 1 to get in the top 3, and he ends up in the top 6. He's not that far off. If there's another issue with one of these guys up front, a late wreck, a late restart, whatever it is, he's got a good chance to cash that for you. So Travel Life saying I should have known better than to put money on Beep. Well, that was the problem. I didn't put money on Beep, and I had 4 guys in the top 4 at Talladega that were like 50 to 1 or more, and he bowling ball wrecked all of them at the same time. Anyways, and JDK says he wants us to admit it was the car with RCRC. Everybody was all over it. Well, we'll get to Jesse Love in a minute because I have thoughts on that too. But
Of course,
top 5s. I had some long shot top 5s. Brandon Jones plus 275. He ends up at 9th place. Again, borderline, maybe close, but just didn't quite do it. Corey Heim I had plus 750. Again, this was one of those things where it's a long shot. Rod, I don't know if you've noticed, we don't just give out long shots for shits and giggles. We'll get to that in the 80 to 1 hit in the Truck Series episode. I don't know if I've mentioned that yet. We hit an 80 to 1 bet. We'll talk about that in a minute. But we don't just do it for shits and giggles. You needed a little bit of help for Heim. That we got the help in the Truck Series. So, that'll happen. But Heim didn't really have a chance. He kind of hung out around 15th all day. Not a bad day for him by any means in the Xfinity race there. But Brandon Jones, I don't know. He's 9th place. You're not that far outside the top 5, so not super disappointed, but I kind of expected him to be a little bit better, maybe be in the mix at some point throughout the day, but really kind of wasn't. He's hung out around that 10th place range for most of the night.
Indeed. Yeah, Brandon Jones, it was, my love for Junior Motorsports, and that definitely, he was not the strongest of the car in the stable there. All right, I had John Hunter Nemechek as a top 3 car. No, first just inside the top 3, so pretty much hit that one. That was led 99 laps in the race.
I'm kicking myself so hard on this one, Rod. I told you before, I believe we agreed on a bet that John Hunter Nemechek was going to win 5 races or more, is what I said.
You did.
And look, we're already early on in this thing, and he's got one already. So why I didn't follow my own thoughts on this a little more, I still don't know. But glad you took this one.
Should have cut that one.
Yeah, should have, because this was a great pick by you. Though only minus 120 for top 3. Looking back, like he's the best driver in the fastest car. What are you gonna do? So speaking of the best driver in the fastest car, actually I do think that Chandler Smith did have the fastest car. And just absolutely tore it up. I mean, he led so much of the race, was so freaking fast all night, slipped up a little bit at the end, which was a little unfortunate. The car kind of fell off, but did have Chandler Smith to be a top 3 car, plus 275. I was sweating this one hard because Austin Hill was coming at the end, trying to take that 3rd place from him. Luckily, did not happen. Chandler Smith ends up in 3rd place, cashes the top 3 at plus 275 for us. We'll just talk about it while we're here. I had him to win at 7 to 1. Again, I think that was the correct bet to make. Much like John Hunter, he was at plus 300 or something to win. It's the same thing as the Larson thing. You get his teammate who's in just as good of a car and is pretty close to being the same good of a driver at better odds, and he's the faster car all night. Things don't work out in the end, so it didn't cash. But luckily, we did have the Chandler Smith plus 275 top 3 that did cash for us.
Yeah, and again, Chandler Smith, somebody we really need to keep an eye on too this season, and he definitely put that 81 car and made it look really, really fast. So hopefully that is a trend that continues all through the season.
Actually, Chandler Smith is one of the bets I have on Kutt, Rod. I think I got him at 2.5 wins.
Ooh.
I am absolutely I'm going to pull it up here because absolutely loving that one. I think that is a really, really great one to be holding on to. Yes, over 2.5. Sorry to the trash man who accepted my bet, but probably not going to end well for you, buddy.
Is it the trash bag man?
No trash bags involved. Okay, it's the trash man, and his little avatar on Kutt is Oscar the Grouch coming out of the trash can, which is great. So shout out to him. He accepted multiple, actually a ton of my bets. So I don't know if he's a listener or not. If he is, that's great. Reach out. But
yeah, please.
I hope you lose that bet.
Speaking of losing bets, Jesse Love, top 5 car. Jesse Love was not a top 5 car at the end of the day, but look at, he finished 17th. But Jesse Love did have a top 5 car at one point in the day. He actually was the high position for him was fifth. Yes, he did. He was inside the top 5 at least at one point. His high position was 5th place. He spent 74.9% of his time inside the top 15 of the thing. Its total top 15 laps was 149. So listen, Jesse Love he started in 15th. In the middle of the race, he was 9th. Like I said, his high position was 5. His average position was 13. He was not as terrible as you're going to go on and say he was, but I didn't say that.
I'm not saying he was terrible. I'm just saying he's not as good as. This is why you can't take super speedways into account, because it's just different.
Which is true. But I also didn't say that this was a very strong bet. I just said this is going off of what I felt like I've seen out of him. And look, we did see the fight out of him, right? It wasn't necessarily his fault.
Fought hard for 17th.
Moving on, Cody. I don't want to defend my Jesse.
I don't really want to talk about these bets either, so that's okay.
Okay.
Eric Almirola.
Oh wait, Cody, how did he do? How did Eric Almirola do?
I feel like we've already had this conversation, but you're in an SHR car. Come on, be faster. What? These cars are supposed to be fast. They're supposed to be good. Although I will say, I really hope Eric Almirola is racing this weekend at Phoenix, because short flat tracks and Eric Almirola have made me a fuck ton of money in the past, and I hope he gets disrespected on the odds. So go ahead and write that down in your little book, because we'll be touching on that. I don't know if he's entered in this one or not. Obviously, the entry list isn't out yet, but hopefully he will be in it, because I'll be betting on it. But I'd taken him over Sammy Smith, who I didn't think would be that impressive. Really, Sammy Smith wasn't that impressive. He ends up in 8th place, a nice solid run for him, but he wasn't really running any better than that throughout the night, just kind of hanging around. So he did, unfortunately, not cash that one. And I had him over AJ Allmendinger again. Same thing I thought with Chandler Smith or with Sheldon Creed. Look, AJ's going to have a solid day, but you have a very talented driver in a very fast car. I'm just not sure what happened, Ross.
I honestly, Cody, the whole night was just sort of a blur. Because
I was so right on the fact that Toyota was going to own the night. JGR was going to own the night. Luckily, I bet on at least one of the other two, the fast JGR car. But these two JGR cars were just such a letdown. And I guess they can only have 2 fast cars. They can't all 4 be fast. I didn't know that was a rule. So my bad.
You only get one, buddy. You only get one.
We got 2, John Hunter and
still only get one. I don't care.
Okay.
You only get one. The other one was a bonus. They tossed it in for you. Yeah, Eric Almirola, disappointing night. DJ saying Retzlaff cost him. Is he good for future races? Possibly.
It's questionable, right? Because they highlighted how good he'd been in the first 2 races. But again, super speedways don't matter. They don't translate. But he then qualified good in Vegas, and he was looking solid. Do you remember did he have a flat tire? I don't remember what happened.
Yeah, he had something. In fact, it was lucky that it didn't shred off his whole quarter panel. So,
but he's going to be a guy to keep an eye on for sure. Again, if we had top 10 odds, he would definitely be a guy we'd be talking about. Top 5, he could be a sneaky guy. We're definitely going to have to keep an eye on him. Also, a trial of a life was once Jesse Love gets used to the longer races, he's going to be a solid driver. Reminds me of Truex when he first started the Busch Series. Dude, Jesse Love, very talented, going to be great. I've been saying that since he was running part-time in the Truck Series last year. But just don't overreact to the super speedways is my thing. That's what people did. Rod tried to do it too. I'm just kidding. You actually had fairly decent points outside of that. But it did not work out.
It did not. This next bet did not work out either. Listen.
I told someone before the race. They said they said they were going to place a bet on Justin Allgaier, and I said, I don't know if I would do that. And they said, yeah, but he's so good and he's so fast here. It doesn't matter that he's starting in the back. And I said, have you ever bet on Justin Allgaier before? Because if you have ever bet on, don't worry about it. That really just threw me completely off, that comment. So yeah, say your prayers or whatever. I don't even know where I was at, Rod. That threw me off so much. I would say, yeah. Have you ever bet on Justin Allgaier before? Because he's the most disappointing person to bet on. Because he disappoints time and time.
Listen. This is what I got to say. I want to have a word with Justin Allgaier's crew chief, because listen, when you are trying to play strategy and out strategize everybody else, stop. You stayed out way too long on that last run. You needed to come in with everybody else. I understand that you were trying to outflank everybody and that you're trying to keep him out as long as humanly possible. But when you see everybody else and their just grandma coming in, like when the grandma and the walker is coming in and getting 4 fresh tennis balls on the bottom of her walker, it's time for you to come in and service the car. Don't try to get cute. The reason,
yeah, but
look at the reason that
I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
I hate it because
he wasn't going to do any. I mean, he would have finished
with Cole Custer at that point.
Didn't Cole Custer end up like
he finished second?
5?
He finished.
Yeah,
second.
He was second. There's no way Justin Allgaier would not have finished.
I think he would have. I think if he would have come in with everybody else, because tried to
before that didn't he have a penalty or something that put him? There was something else that had forced his
laps on that. Those are 10 more laps than he should have led. He should have come in and tried to outflank.
But if the caution would have fallen, it was the right call for the situation he was in. I agree with that.
I don't agree.
But the result obviously ends up not. I mean, just him having to start in the back, it's never good. And like,
but he tore his ass to the front.
I know, but look at the cars he's passing, Rod.
But he led 11.
JJ Yaley, and I mean, yeah, you would pass those cars if you were running next to him. So
he ran. Listen. He ran 95.5% of the race inside of the top 15 after starting in the back. And his high position obviously was 1, but his average position was 7th, Cody. 7th was his average position all race long.
He's so good, and he's going to win races, and he's going to pop up. But this is why he doesn't win championships, Rob, because he just steps on his own foot more than he doesn't. And I will
die on the Allgaier cross.
I know you will. It's unfortunate to see. I had a couple of great bets here by myself, if I do say so. Winning manufacturer is Toyota, plus 155. Look, I mentioned it. I was going to take all 3 other JGR cars in my outright card, and this was my way to get in on John Hunter. He was only plus 300. Instead, you could get Toyota at plus 155, have the coverage of the other guys, which, Rod, the fastest, best car throughout the day, Chandler Smith should have won the fucking race, and had he, this would have cashed either way. This was a great way to hedge off of John Hunter winning, but getting the other guys at the bigger numbers. I would place this bet 10 out of 10 times again. You know, you're looking at it and you're like, there's only, 5 Toyotas entered in the race, but they were going to be the fastest cars. They end up being the fastest car. They win the race. And you end up with, John Hunter first, Chandler in third, ways back until the rest of the guys. But they won. That's all that matters. And then Austin Hill, top Chevrolet, Rod. This one was one I had kind of waffled on a little bit. He was plus 350 to be the top Chevrolet. I waffled on his top 5. Look, Austin Hill was an automatic top 5 last season. He cashed it so many times for us. He's only like plus 110, plus 120 range. So you got to think outside the box sometimes. Top Chevrolet seemed like the better way to go, just in case all of the JDR Toyotas were fast, which it turns out they weren't. But even if he doesn't get in the top 5, he can cash to the top Chevy. If he does get in the top 5, he can definitely cash to the top Chevy. He does cash the top Chevy by finishing in 4th. Thank you, Justin Allgaier, for that. AJ Allmendinger 6th. Then you got to go back to Sammy Smith in the load of JGR cars for the rest of the Chevys. But this happened to be the right way to tackle it. So again, sometimes you got to think outside the box and look at everything else that's going on. I mean, there was a couple of really fast Fords. Custer and Herbst both finished well. Ryan Sieg with an impressive day as well. A lot of Chevys up there in the top 11 as well. So, but Austin Hill ends up being the top finishing Chevrolet. Cash is the plus 350. He's just a guy that it doesn't matter where it's at, Rod, a super speedway, an intermediate, a short track, a road course. If you're getting plus money, if you're getting minus 120 or better on an Austin Hill, you've got to just throw him in there for a top 5 fucking everywhere because he's so automatic. So luckily this one did work out for us with the top Chevrolet. Got an even better number at plus 350.
I got to go back. I don't remember if we've said Austin Hill as a championship favorite, but you might want to look at the number because
he's got to be. He's probably the favorite at this point because he's. Yeah. I mean, again,
2 wins and a 4th place. Yeah,
despite what the broadcasts will tell you, he's the only one that's actually locked in.
Yes,
there's not. I don't see Xfinity. There is Cup Series championship odds up. Who did I say I was going to look at? Was Ross Chastain? Where is
something like that? Let me move on to the next bet while you do that. I had the winning car.
20-1.
Austin's what?
Ross is 20-1. By the way.
Ross is 21. I had the winning car number 50 or more at plus 420. Again, that was really mainly considering whether Herbst was going to get it done or Chandler Smith was going to get it done. I thought
Chandler
those two
Smith should have got it done.
and that's what we're saying. So yeah, that didn't hit, unfortunately. 20 was the car that hit. Much lower than 50.
Yeah, I mean, really, it ended up looking like a pretty good bet for a while with Chandler Smith dominating the race. Herbst was in the mix as well. SV Jesus unfortunately goes out early, so his part of holding up this deal for you didn't work out. But outright winners, I was all in on Gibbs. I was just in on the wrong Gibbs cars. But that's why we had the winning manufacturer, Toyota. Chandler Smith was the right bet, 7-1. So fucking fast. He's gonna be bet on a lot this year. John Hunter ends up winning it. I had John Hunter in the card. I took him out for Sheldon Creed's dumbass at 18-1. That was a horrible decision by me, but shit happens. Had Eric Almirola at 14-1. Now we've learned our lesson. Eric Almirola, Sheldon Creed, not the JGR cars you want on 1.5 miles. I'll be looking at Almirola next week at Phoenix if he is there. I haven't looked at what his schedule is, but I'm hoping that he's going to be on these short flats because that's where he's so good at.
Indeed. I had Riley Herbst, finished 5th. I mean, look, he was a fast car. He didn't lead a lap, but he definitely.
That's surprising because I felt like he was up. He must have been second place for a while. He was definitely up there.
Yeah, he was, and he was honestly jockeying for at least the lead, if not the win, at some points in that race. He's a fast car. I mean, he came from 11th to 5th, so I definitely don't hate that bet, and I would do it again. Just didn't pan out for him. John Hunter was just way too damn strong.
All right, Rod. Should we get to the best race of the weekend?
Let's get to the best race of the weekend. As far as
we saved the best for last.
We did.
For our whole card, man, we had a lot of bets in this race.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. This was a lot of fun, not only because look, when we led into this week, we had talked about the fact that we loved what we saw. We said the finishes don't really matter because it was super speedway, but we loved what we saw out of Raja Karuth. We loved the fact that he looked disciplined, that he looked like he wasn't trying to get into trouble this time. We talked about his deal with Hendrick Motorsports.com. Yep. Yeah, and the fact that Hendrick put his full weight behind him, that has to be good for him. Bubba was having some fun talking to him and mentoring him. Like, everything was coming up Raja. Well, guess what? It all came up Raja this weekend.
Oh, it was so beautiful. We'll lead with that, Rod. What made me believe in Jesus Christ loves us all, like this person commented, was Raja Karuth winning that race at 80-1. I went back, I clipped it. It's on our YouTube shorts if you want to go listen to me talk about it. But I said, I don't think Raja is going to win this race. But Rod, we don't just give out long shots for no reason. I don't know how many times I can stress that, and we've been so close on so many where you get a 70-1, a 60-1 in their second. We've hit some big outrights. Ross Chastain 40 to Dakota, and Martin Truex Jr. 35-1 at Sonoma. All this stuff, and we've been really close on some, but we don't just give them out for shits and giggles. And it was just everything seemed to be lining up for Raja. We know the Spire trucks are supposed to be fast. Nick Sanchez in a Rev truck that's prepared by Spire, but it's not even a Spire truck, dominated Texas last season. He looks so good. Kyle Busch was in this race, was a heavy favorite. Again, this is why you don't always bet on the heavy favorites, Rod. But it just, and I said it when I was given the pick out, he's going to need some help. Some things are going to happen. Things like Kyle Busch. I don't remember what happened. Did he have a pit penalty or was that bad?
I think Kyle just kind of lost it.
He had something happen in the truck race too. I think that cost him. Where did he finish in that race?
He actually ended up finishing all the way back in 15th.
Yeah, he had a pass-through penalty, I think.
That's right.
Because there's no way he just drops to 15th. But anyways, he was going to need help, but there's potential. He's got a very fast car. We think he's talented. Rod, we said, don't remember anything from the last 2 weeks. But like you said, the one thing you can take away from that type of race, the confidence, the ability to get to the end. He gets the Hendrick cars. It just made too much sense. And he was mispriced. He shouldn't have been 80-1. He probably should have been 30-40-1. Maybe we didn't look at him at that point, but he should not have been all the way 80-1. He goes out, sits the truck on the pole, and I'm thinking there's no way he's winning this. Like, at that point, you just know, like, you had all this value. He drops to 20-1 for the race, which still ends up being a nice ticket to have if you took it after the fact. But it was beautiful. He ran a pretty mistake-free race. He wasn't the best truck throughout the night. Kyle was definitely the best truck. And guys like Corey Heim had really good trucks. Tyler Ankrum had a good truck. It was not just going to be Raja's show the whole night for sure, but finds his way to the front. Kyle has the issue, and he's there. And no, thank God we didn't get a caution. I literally was sweating, Rod, that there was going to be a caution flag at the end of that race. There was not. He wins the race. It was most beautiful thing I've ever seen. 80-1. This is why you listen to all 3 pick shows. You got to get in on the full weekend. The Truck Series, look, this whole card was our best of the weekend. We've said it before. Trucks and Xfinity a lot of times end up better than Cup. Cup is really fucking hard. They're all good. Like, you look at that race today, there's 10, 15 guys that could have won that race. It's crazy. And we seem to have such an advantage in these lower series. So it really worked out well. 80-1. It is not going to happen often. You're not going to hit an 80-1 next week. You might not hit an 80-1 ever again in your life. It happened to work out. That's what we're here for. We're looking out for these things. Again, your algorithms and your computer generated whatevers didn't tell you he's going to win that race. I don't think. I don't pay attention to them, but I'm going to guess they didn't have that. But the eye test, he passed the last couple of weeks. He passed the last season. And, he'd been fast. He just hadn't always been able to get to the end. If he could get to the end, he did it this week. It was great. It feels so fucking good to hit a bet that big. So I think a lot of people joined in on it. I gave him out top 5 at plus 750. I know a lot more people had that one, which is great. That's a huge bet to get. Again, you go back to the Corey Heim one in the Xfinity, plus 750. That one doesn't hit, but in the Truck Series, it does. You're going to hit some. You're not going to hit some. That's how you're not going to hit most of them, but that's why you give them out, because they do have a legit chance. I felt like that one was pretty safe throughout the race, but obviously cashing the 80-1 is the big one. That's, I think, the biggest bet we've hit on this podcast, which is great. And man, it was a lot of fun watching that on Friday night.
Yeah, well, and in fact, I talked you into the top 5 one because I gave you the Raja to win the group.
As I was going back looking at that, yeah, because you had talked about him in one of your. Because where'd you have him?
I gave him.
You had him to win the Group A
over Purdy, over Dillon, over Taylor Gray, over Bailey Curry, and over Friesen. And again, this was not even in question, this group at all. I mean, Ty Dillon, I even kind of
Taylor
dismissed
ends up in 4th.
As Ty. Well, Taylor did end up in 4th, but Taylor was not. Taylor was there. But Raja Karuth was obviously the faster truck out of all these guys. I had even said it too. I was like, Purdy's not going to be a factor. I said Bailey Curry was not going to be a factor even after last weekend. And
he was out
Bailey
early.
Curry was out. He was out really quickly. His roof didn't fall off this time. He just was out quickly.
No roof. He had other issues.
Yeah, exactly. Stuart Friesen. I mean, look, Friesen actually finished 18th. And he had his little fits here and there.
He
might
have had a penalty late too. He had some type of issue within the race too that cost him.
He wasn't necessarily all the way there. But yeah, for Stuart Friesen, I mean, look, we love to cheer for him, but he wasn't going to be good on this track. But yeah, Caruth easily won this one. I mean, Taylor Gray was probably the only one that could have probably tried. And late in the race, I almost thought that it was going to happen that way because we had that incident where Raja had to. I mean, he had to fight his way back up to the front at the end there. And I almost thought he wasn't going to end up doing it. And then he got past everybody and ended up winning the race, which obviously wins the group. So like I said, look, we knew that we had seen something special. And I'm glad for the rest of the betting community that was on him as well. I mean, there was a lot of tickets.
There was a lot, which was great. Yeah, so good to see. There was a lot of people that were on him. And yeah, you giving this group out. I already had him as my long shot to win, but you talked me into wanting more on him. That's when we gave out the top 5 as an official play late there, and it cashed as well. So just great. And we're not even, he cashes a bunch of bets, which is great, but he's a very talented young driver, and he's done a great job. He's got Mr. H's support, obviously, and this is only going to push that even farther. Good chance he's getting in the Truck Series playoffs now, right? He's got a leg up on that for sure. And just it's going to be a great career for him, I think. Unfortunately, no trucks at Phoenix this week. They are taking the week off, which sucks, but they'll be back in a couple of weeks. But just so great to see for him. Should we breeze through the rest of these bets? I know it's been
let's just breeze through the card.
Yeah. I had the fade Ty Majeski train and Rod. Ty Majeski, he's a lot like, who does he remind me of? Who's that guy that drives the 7 car in Xfinity? Is it Alligator? Justin Allgaier. Yeah, a lot like Justin Allgaier. You go to bet on him and he just he destroys you every time because something stupid. And Majeski speeding up pit road late. It's a gift from the fucking God. Sorry, Dos Flacos. I know you love him. Ty Majeski is going to continue to make my fade card. It has made me so much money fading Ty Majeski this last season and a half. Going to continue to do it. Had Eckes over him which Eckes did hit at 6th place. Eckes didn't have a great day, but wasn't what I was expecting, but does hit. Zane Smith over him, barely, because Zane holds on to 8th. Majeski ends up in 10th place. Had to sweat these a little bit, but Fading Time Majeski has been profitable in the past. I think it's going to continue to be profitable. So I'm going to continue to do it because it worked out.
Indeed. Had Rhodes over Enfinger. That didn't happen. Enfinger finishes 9th. Rhodes finishes 13th. Look,
when Rhodes,
he didn't
have
have
a flat tire really early.
Right he had troubles right off the bat, and then Grant Enfinger just kind of ran a clean race. I mean, it wasn't anything spectacular, but he ended up finishing in 9th place. And yeah, Ben just could not. He didn't pick back up after he had that problem, and unfortunately, just didn't see what I think we could have seen out of him all race long if he would have been right from the start. So, yep, this one was doomed to fail right from the beginning.
Yeah, and again, we weren't sure on the Enfinger how his equipment would be. I think it was better than we expected, but wasn't what GMS equipment was for sure. So there is that to keep in mind. I had Eckes top 5, plus 125. Yet another one where we have a guy at top 5 and he finishes in 6th place. So a little disappointing there, but obviously the rest of the card made up for that.
Yeah, and he led 7 laps too, so he was a pretty quick truck. He just didn't necessarily stay there the whole way. I had Jake Garcia over Daniel Dye. This one hit. But boy, let me tell you,
of all locks, Rod.
Well,
we did have to sweat it a little bit.
We had to sweat it quite a bit because Dye was actually a pretty damn good truck for most of the night.
But then he did again.
Well, but he did
Dye things. That's what you're betting. Like, I know that there's some things you can't handicap a lug nut in Bubba Wallace's deal and the Christopher Bell tire issues, but some things you can't handicap. Like guys like Ty Majeski are going to make mistakes. Guys like Daniel Dye are going to make mistakes more often than they should, more often than other people do. And this was the one that we both had on the card. And yeah, absolutely loved it. And it did cash. I had Zane Smith top 5 plus 140. Zane really wasn't that impressive. He ends up in 8th place, but just not what I really thought I was going to see out of him in what should have been a super fast truck and a super good driver. I don't know if it's a Las Vegas thing because he had issues obviously on Sunday as well. We talked about. I'll be interested to see if he gets back in that truck, maybe what he does. And then the Cruz top 5 was in that box as well. Obviously, we talked about that already.
Yep, I had Crafton as a top 5 car or truck rather.
What a good bet this was.
I know this was a fantastic bet.
9-1.
Yeah, and he finishes
7th. Yeah, so like again, you're not always going to hit those, Rod, but sometimes Raja Caruth is going to hit it at 750. Like that's why you make these bets, because they're not just bets out of our ass for no reason. They're there for a reason. I can't stress that enough.
Indeed. Yep. And then I had Bell as a top 3 car or truck rather, and he finishes 5th. So
just outside. Bell wasn't as impressive as you would have hoped. I did have the Corey Heim truck lift. This one had a pretty solid day. I had him over Sanchez. That was a pretty easy cash at minus 135. I had him top 5 plus 110, top 3 plus 210. Those all cashed. I had him to win at 7-1 as well, which he definitely had a shot late, especially once Kyle Busch kind of went out of it and all of that. But Eckes at 12-1. That number I'd probably bet again. Probably wasn't going to win, but he started second. He was sort of fast throughout the day. And then obviously Raja rounds it out at 80-1.
And I had Tyler Ankrum in that 18 truck to win this race at 20-1. And boy, that he finished second place. And I'm telling you right now, this one, I honestly, if Raja wasn't going to win, I swear to God, I thought Tyler Ankrum was going to win because this was
he was close.
Yeah.
I mean, you win with an 80-1, your 20-1 comes in second, a 7-1 in third, 12-1 in sixth. Like, we're not just pulling this out of our ass, people. It's there for a reason. And like this race was, I mean, one of the all-timers for sure. It was a beautiful, great race and good racing throughout the night. I mean, again, constant storylines, constant different things going on. Kyle Busch didn't just destroy everyone like a lot of people thought he would. And yeah, obviously Raja really just rounded everything out for us. But great day on the truck card overall. I'm really sad the trucks are taking the week off for Phoenix, but I think they'll be back for Bristol the following week. So we only have to miss them for 1 week.
Yeah, Kyle Busch didn't destroy anything. He only led 13 laps in this entire thing. Ty Majeski was the one that led 40 laps.
And it's crazy that Raja, leads what he does and wins in the same truck. It's just crazy how that works.
38th place. But just to circle back to Tyler Ankle, I mean, the winning margin was 0.851 seconds. So this was a really close race at the end between Ankrum and Raja. So, and like you said, Cody, to have that many outrights in the top 6, I mean, the research
and not the
solid.
-110 guy that was out.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't give him out, and he wasn't anywhere to be found anyway. But it was 80-1 and 20-1 and 12-1 and 7-1 even. Like it does feel good when you're that correct on a race.
Yep. When you have the research all nailed and the trucks that are supposed to be fast are fast. I mean, that's why we put the research in. We may not always hit the bets, but at least the research is solid when those guys, all the guys that we talk about, you can find them all within the top 6. So certainly love to see that. All right, Cody. Well, then that'll do it for Las Vegas. It's just a great weekend overall. So good to have normal racing back. I'm looking forward to being able to break down Phoenix this week and move forward. We're going to have Xfinity. We'll have DFS. We'll have Cup, obviously. And then we're going to throw in, I believe we're going to throw in the Indy, right?
IndyCar. So update to have your schedule for you for the week, what to expect. Again, things will vary depending on odd availability. That's always a thing. But hopefully tomorrow we'll have an episode of the F1 Gambling Podcast. They're back again this week on another Saturday race in Saudi Arabia. Tuesday, we should be back with the Cup Series picks, assuming the full lines are out. Obviously, the Cup Series is a big one. Xfinity on Wednesday, DFS/Underdog. Maybe we'll toss some Kutt stuff out there. Hit us up with some bets you want on Kutt. We'll try to get them to have some stuff posted for Thursday so we can toss those. Or we could do that Friday, too. Either way, we'll work Kutt in there at some point. And then Friday, we're hoping to have IndyCar. They're going to kick their season off at St. Pete. Odds have been hit and miss in the past with IndyCar, but assuming odds are out, we will definitely have odds on it or picks for it, and whatever. Even if there's not odds out, we'll discuss the race and have some stuff to keep an eye out for and drivers we like. So, gonna be another fun week. Maybe we'll hit another 80-1, maybe we won't, but we're gonna have fun along the way, no matter what.
We always do. All right. Well, then we'll continue to have fun off this broadcast. Tell everybody where they can find you over on social media to continue having fun.
Yep, you can follow me on the X at Husker_Zeeb. Find all my stuff over there. Rod, tomorrow I'm going to have an article out breaking down the Horizon League tournament for the basketball. So they're kicking off their tournament. I got a long shot in there I really like. So check that article out on sportsgamblingpodcast.com tomorrow. I had stuff all weekend for the combine, all 3 days with the 40 times. Quite a few of those Underdog plays hits. I had multiple. I need to share more of my Underdog lineups when I make them because I had multiple things cash in Underdog this week, which was a lot of fun. And just come back and join us again this week. Head over to the YouTube channel, click the bell. You get these live episodes when we're reacting right after the races and stuff when we get a chance. So let's go do it again next week.
Let's do it all again next week. Love you guys so much. Thanks for hanging with us this late at night. Can't believe that many of you are hanging with us this late at night for you guys. So hit us back. Follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. Link in the bio, everything I got going on, whether it's here, whether it's a sportsbook review. And got some F1 stuff coming out for them as well this week. And then, of course, the back road. Seth and Elliot, myself, will be hitting it down for the Phoenix race as well. And one more time, leave you with have a great day. Jesus loves you guys. Till then, let's go racing and let it ride.